elections have consequences. Elections have consequences.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Sandra Sheffer, host of Racing the Races. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been here. I don't know if the intro played because I had to switch up my sound. But here I am. It's been like a couple of weeks since I did the last episode. I have to tell you, I think, we did one right before the inauguration, which I didn't watch, and I heard a lot of people didn't watch it. I was out there doing some service instead. I stayed away from it. I'm still so stunned about like where we are right now as a nation, to the point where I haven't really been watching the news like I'm supposed to. So, in order for me to have all the informations that we need, all the information that we need in order for us to have like a, candid conversation about the things that are actually happening right now. So I am aware of a lot of the things, not all of the things, because like truly, this is still such a very stunning time. I'm still just like, wow, did we really do this? And then, of course, those of us that were trying to warn folks of like what this was going to possibly look like, we're like, yo, homeboy came out like gun blazing, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 10. I mean, it's just like, to know that he's only been the president for like 2 weeks and like 2 days, and of all the things that have happened since then, it's really just stunning. And the unfortunate part of it to me is that it's not even coming from like a good place, or a place where, there's some things that are needed. So you have to make some of those changes in the administration. Most of the stuff is really just coming from a real terrible place of hate. Now, warnings were made. Folks were saying, listen, that Project 2025 is a real thing, y'all. These are the things that they're going to try to do. And they chose not to believe the ones, who were trying to warn them, Black women. They chose not to believe us and took the other folks' word for it. They're like, oh no, Project 2025, what are you talking about? We don't know nothing about no Project 2025. That's just the liberal, crazy media. Mind you, half them people that's part of this administration right now, I guess unofficially, is this media that was being accused of doing all of these things and providing all this misinformation. But I digress on that point. Okay. So folks were trying to warn them. When I say folks, I mean Black women again was trying to warn them and say, listen, don't do this, right? Like, you guys know who he is, you know who he was, you know what he's done, you know what he's capable of. He's figured out, he has a better game plan to do all of the things he needed to do to distract. And folks, she was like, no, we're gonna do this again. And they decided to do this again. And here we are, right? Here we are. So many folks are having buyer's remorse. I think when I did the last episode, I was talking about how right after the election, folks was like, yo, can I change my vote? How can I change this? They realized really quickly that they made a mistake. And I think that mistake is every day, another community or a segment of supporters realize that, oh my God, we really did make a mistake. There's a clip that's going around. There's a couple things that's going around. One of the videos that I saw yesterday is of the Venezuelan community that's very, very upset with him because, they were like, the Republicans said that they weren't going to do anything to us, that, we were good, we were safe. And then what did he decide to do? cancel TPS for all Venezuelans, just not renew it, and that's it. Hundreds of thousands of people are being impacted. What else did he do? There was a program in Haitian community, it's known as the Biden program, where they allowed Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelans to, if they had a sponsor, they could come into the United States by the sponsor with a 2-year parole. He got rid of that one. He was like, yep, nope, we're done with that. So, and then we also seen some of the videos of the Latinos for Trump, you know, some of the Latinos that were supporting Trump. And here they go with, you know, I think there's an image of this. And I don't know if it's a true image, or was he truly a supporter in some sense, and had on the t-shirt and being arrested by ICE. Because what I did hear, like in the community that I'm a part of, they were saying that some people were wearing those things in order for them to maybe not be bothered, right? However, that's not going to be a distraction. That you will be bothered no matter what it is that you have on, if you look like one of the people who they think don't belong in the United States. There's even been instances of folks who are citizens or lawful permanent residents not having the information with them or on them, and they were detained, you know, days until they could find someone who they think was truthful enough, or they were able to get their documents to come in, and you know, they were released. But folks being detained, I have instances where there's folks who are in status, because what they were saying was that the person would have to be out of status in order for them to be subject to all of these things. If you're out of status, right? They're not only picking up people who are out of status. Don't fall for that. And oftentimes, most of the people in the Latino community, from my understanding, who voted, their understanding was that they were only going to pick up criminals. They were going to pick up all the bad hombres. You know, it was only the bad folks, the people that committed crimes, right? Understand that unlawful entry into the United States is in fact a crime. However, most administrations see those as low priority cases, and they don't do anything about it. So people had this misconception that they were only going to pick up people who had criminal convictions or felony criminal convictions, and who were truly subject to deportation, or maybe someone with multiple entries that were unlawful. That is not the case. They are not discriminating. They are picking up any and everybody who they think don't look like they should be here, and those folks are getting picked up, right? Like I said, I have a person who should not be considered undocumented because they are in lawful. They have temporary protected status. They have temporary protected status. That's good for until 2026, but they're being detained at this time. So, you know, these are things that, again, we wasn't expecting, that's actually happening, and we need to be aware of it. And the other experience that I'm having is, you know, I tend to represent a lot of Haitian nationals. And there are times where they always want to negotiate price and not pay and all of these types of things. This is not the time for you to, and I'm not saying just go turn all your money over to somebody, because they may be trying to sell you a dream, because there are going to be a lot of fake practitioners out there that's going to take advantage of the fact that people are desperate. You know, there are going to be that. But at this point, if you're going to someone that was referred to you, an attorney with a good reputation, please don't try to nickel and dime nobody, because the work is hard. The work is hard. Attorneys charge for their time, not the outcome. But when they're on, on a call, in an appointment, trying to, the time they're spending trying to negotiate fees, and, you're keeping them away from doing the work, right? So this is the time where you need to put your best foot forward, get a good referral. And when you get the good referral, just go ahead and pay them people and let them go to work for you, right? But make sure you get a good referral. Don't, because there are going to be a bunch of scammers out there. So try to stand clear of that. But this immigration thing is real serious. It's real serious. It's real serious. It's real serious. It's real serious. And a lot of industries are going to be impacted. There's some places where people just decided that they're like, we're not even for to wait around to see what y'all going to do. So we have construction that's being impacted. ag is being impacted, hospitality is being impacted, and there's still there's people in the tech space that are being impacted too, because you have like some high level workers that are working for Google, Facebook, and all of these places that they're undocumented people in the professional realm also that's being impacted by the decisions that are being made by this administration. So this thing is real. Now, not to say that the country does not have the right to protect its borders, to keep, drugs from coming in and all of these things, but please be genuine about it, right? And then they give you these examples of maybe, 1 or 2 or 3, maybe say it's even 10 undocumented that have done really terrible things, right? And some people may say 10 is too much, but when you're even saying that it's 14 million undocumented people that are in the United States, and all you can come up with is 10, so that's enough to disrupt the lives of people that have been here for so long, to the point where you're creating policy that says that you can go into a school and not only traumatize the children that you're picking up, you're traumatizing the other children that are in the class that's witnessing this happen. And many of them will be Americans, then you're saying to go into places of worship, going into a church and taking people out of a church. Like, this is what we doing. We just gonna let the police roll up in there and do these type of things. There's nothing humane about a decision like that. There's nothing humane about a decision like that or doing anything like that. So we really, I understand that there are people that may feel as though they're being disenfranchised by immigrant communities in some way. However, this is not, this ain't the way to do it. This ain't the godly way to do it. This ain't the Christian way to do it. This ain't the human. It's just not the human way to do it. There has to be something else, right? And again, if you're creating policy from a place of hate, first of all, it ain't gonna be sustainable, because people are gonna push back one way or another. So it's not sustainable what's being done, and we really need to come up with a better solution, something that's just a little bit more consistent in terms of the way to address, the border issues. Now, on another side of this, right? Part of the reason, right, because they keep talking about all these undocumented, part of the reason why there's so many people that are undocumented in the United States is because we have not had any, when I say we, I mean United States has not had any comprehensive immigration policy that will allow people to adjust their status since 2000. When Bill Clinton was leaving office at the end of 2000 for the Bush administration to come in 2001, that was the last time they had a immigration policy that allowed people to adjust their status. And that was something that's called 245I. I know a lot of advocates were trying to see if the Biden administration would sign off on something like that. So, so people could have just paid a penalty in order for them to adjust their status, because there are people that have been here long enough. There are people that are married, or they have children that are over the age of 21 that can file for them, that can't do it. They can't do it because of the way that they had initially come into the United States, right? And so because of the way they entered, they can't adjust, meaning they can't get their green card here. But there was a process in place where they could have paid a penalty. Typically, they used to pay $1,000 penalty, and they were able to adjust their status. Just that, bringing that back, even for the just 120 days, the 120 days like Bill Clinton did before he left office, would make such a significant difference. It would generate revenue for the country because the people are going to pay to get it, right? So we really, really should consider doing something like that. At least, back off all this detaining people and making all this money for the prisons, because that might really be what it's about. There's a whole big old money grab happening because they're putting in people in places in states that didn't even used to have detention space, but now all of a sudden they do. So we need to also think about whether or not this is just a distraction, because there's truly just some money grab happening here. And it's looking as though, we're trying to make the country a better place. But really what's happening is that they're disrupting the lives of families. They're disrupting the lives of American citizens. They're just disrupting industry. So this impact is going to be felt by more than just the people that they're detaining. It's going to be felt by many more. And it's going to have a long-term effect, particularly with, some of the trauma that's going on. Okay, so Victoria Olsen put us post comments and call DC to your congressperson and senator in DC, switchboard number 202-224-3121. Call and jam phone lines. Call. The switchboard has been jammed. Keep it up. Sometime the line is busy. So she's like, go ahead and call 202-224-3121 to, to just let them know how people are feeling, let them know what's going on, because this is really like, I mean, again, one of the things I said about the election results, I wasn't necessarily surprised by it, but I was really just disappointed. And I'm just still disappointed that that this is where we are, because the country truly is better than this, right? We, for the most part, we're just better than this. And a lot of people, I think, fell for the okie doke. There were some issues that, that maybe, the messaging on it on the Democratic side wasn't good, and or on the Republican side it was better. You can look at it whichever way you want to, and this is why we ended up here. But we really don't need to stay in this space, because truly this is I hope this isn't sustainable. I really hope there's some pause to this and they figure out a better way to deal with this, because this is just we're not in a really good place when it comes to immigration and the policies that are going on, because more and more people are being detained. And then again, I think it's a bit unfair is not the word I want to use, but I think it's not okay that they're really being tough on people that are undocumented and continue to be undocumented, when there really has not been any way for people to maintain status. And then the few ways that existed for them to get something is block over block over block over block. And this is happening to people who've already proven that they can be here, be good, take full advantage of what's here, not pose any threats or any dangers. They've gone to all of the hearings that they were supposed to. You've even had people who presented and let immigration know that they're here. So these are all the people that were trying to play by the rules, and they're the ones that's being affected. One of the other things that the administration did was they canceled a program that's called CBP1, and that's people that were coming out of Mexico. Now, they made it seem as though that was a bad thing. But what those individuals were doing was that they were truly waiting their turn to come in. Right? Like they were like, okay, I'm going to make an appointment and I'm going to let the folks know that I got all of these things going on, or I want to apply for asylum and I want you to know that I'm here. And that's what they were doing. And then they stop it. So when you stop that, what you sending people to do, right? Because folks are going to come, right? Folks are going to come. I mean, you can get all the Border Patrol agents out there, but there's still going to be more people trying to come than agents are out there. So folks are going to come, but now they're going to come and you're not going to know they're here for real. Right? So you just really created an environment where people are going to come and you don't know that they're here. Whereas when they were using the CBP1 app, they had to schedule an appointment and you would know, that they're here, and they had to check in with immigration before they came in. So it wasn't a perfect system, but it was something that was working, that was helpful, and you know who's in your borders, as opposed to just allowing people to sneak in and come in through the tunnels or whatever, or however it is that they were coming into the United States. So I really just hope that enough people who thought this was a good idea sometime last year, when they didn't really know what it was going to look like, they kind of realized that, okay, no, this is not what I thought. They probably by this time have had friends, family, somebody they know that they probably didn't know was undocumented, that have been impacted in a way. And they're like, oh, wow, right? They're putting faces to this and they're just backing down just a little bit, right? Again, I can't say 100% that's what's happening, but I can tell you on some level that's happening. So much so that people are talking about being betrayed, and they're feeling some kind of way about the policy. And it's going to affect business. And people are, one of the reasons why some folks said that they voted was because they couldn't afford groceries. Okay, well, you thought you couldn't afford groceries in 2024. You're really not going to be able to afford groceries in 2025, because a big part of the labor community is going to be gone. So if stuff don't get picked and it's not enough, it's less, they're gonna charge you more, and you're gonna get charged more. And folks are seeing this already, right? And then the other thing they were talking about was the price of gas. The price of gas has gone up. You know, it's gone up for me. I've seen it. Every now and then it may go down 5 cents, 2 cents, or something like that. But the price of gas is no lower than it was before. It's higher. So we're running into that issue too. So all of these things, you know, it's unfortunate people, I'm gonna say it, people fell for the okie doke and they wouldn't listen again to Black women that was trying to warn them, because we know, right? We feel it, we know it. They wouldn't listen, and they made a decision that we are only 2 weeks in, people. This is supposed to last until 20, what is that, 2029? Y'all, we 2 weeks in, and oh my God, we're 2 weeks in. We're 2 weeks in. This is supposed to be going on till 2029. Really? Like, oh my God. Okay. So, but then, you know, for the midterms, which is in 2026, we do have an opportunity to at least try to deal with the House and the Senate and maybe do some stuff on the local level, right? But anybody that's thinking of running in 26, I need you to start running now. Like, don't wait until 6 months before. Don't even wait until next year. Start getting into your community, getting the people to know who you are. Start running now. Start fundraising now. Start doing everything now. Don't wait, because people need to know you. They need to know what it is that you want to do in order for you to make that impact and make a difference. And we've also been seeing people flip the script. You know, they go in saying they're Dems or whatever, and then they get there and they're switching parties and doing all that stuff. You know, we need to weed that out. We really need people who are there to do the work, and not just people who are there to, you know, make sure their own interest or the interest of a few is being sorted out. And so so please don't take it where I'm saying that, because I understand that some folks are issue people, right? It doesn't matter what party the person belongs to. They're all about issues. They're issues, folks, and I get that, right? I'm a issues person too. I'm an issue person too, but I do lean in one particular way. But yeah, but when even if you're looking at issues, there's still a certain way you should vote, right? And what we also need to do is, like, when these candidates are talking to you, pay attention and listen to what it is that they're saying, because oftentimes they'll come and act like they're here to do the work of the people, and they're really there for their own self, so they can have titles and they can take pictures with important people and do all of those types of stuff. So you want to really pay attention, get to know these candidates, and make sure that they're truly there to go and do the work, right? So that part. And then those people who want to be candidates, you need to start running now. You need to start running now. Get into these communities, get people to know you, listen to what it is that they need. Go listen, because that was part of it too, right? It's like the party kind of picked what it is that they wanted to, what they thought was important to everyone, and they weren't listening to hardly anyone, you know. So go and listen to what it is that the people say they want to have addressed, what their needs are, and you know, and build a platform about what it is that people want, as opposed to what you think they want or what you think they need. Listen, folks know what's going on. Insurance is something that's affecting everybody. Cost of living is something that's affecting everybody. You know, those are for real. Those are real things, right? Like, those are real things. So talk about issues that are really impacting other folks, everybody, as opposed to something that are really issues that impact like a small segment of the population. So we really need to, you know, these candidates, when I say we, I mean candidates, people who are planning on running, pay attention and listen to what people are talking about, because some things that, you know, these consultants and all of these think are popular, most folks like, I'm not worried about that. I don't care nothing about that. That's not important to me. And we need to talk the people's language, right? You saying you're going there to represent them, figure out what it is they want, figure out what it is they need, speak their language, and go do their work for real, right? So we don't end up having people who just like, because what ends up happening is oftentimes folks who can afford to send out mailers, for people who can afford to send to have commercials, that's all. And even if they're lying in the mailers and lying on the commercial, that's the only message people are hearing. But if you start running now and you know, you got 2 years to do it, People will get to know you personally. They'll get to know you. So even if somebody sent a mailer to their house, or or they see some ad, they be like, nah. I remember that lady. She came to my house. She talked. She listened to what I had to say, and that really goes a long way, because they really do say door knocking is a really a big thing. But just go into the community, go into these restaurants, go and engage with the people who you say you want to represent. That's important, right? So if you're gonna run, start running now, because maybe we can do a bit of a shift in 26 to kind of, make it a little bit better, make it a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So the segment mainly was about immigration. There's a couple other things that's going on. They're trying to dismantle the Department of Education. I'm in the education space. Listen, there's no way we need less education. There should be no dismantling of nobody's education. No, we cannot leave it all up to just these states to decide how they want to educate people. Are you kidding me? You like, no, right? Just no, because, particularly we live in a state that's just rewriting history. I mean, they will rewrite history in our face, because they keep acting like January 6th didn't happen. Because remember, he pardoned all of those people, even the ones that was responsible for killing police officers, right? Everybody got a pardon. If they didn't get a pardon, they got their sentences reduced. So, but all of those people are out, they're all out. No matter what they did, they're trying to convince us that what we saw that day isn't what happened. So they're rewriting history like in our faces, right? So what I said all that to say this: we do need to have at least some sort of standards with education, right? Like now I don't know. They want to dismantle it. So I don't know if this is the administration that should be setting the standards for for standards for education. I don't know. But I just don't think leaving something like that purely up to the states is the best thing, right? We've already had our experience in 2022 with the Dobbs decision, where they allowed states to decide about the reproductive rights of women. And we see what that looks like in certain places. It's just going to be all over the place, right? It's going to be all over the place. So we really need to really dig deep, think about, is this what we want? And we can try to reverse course. Can't do it too much before 26. I think we can put pressure and try to see if we can get some of these elected officials to find a humanity, find a compassion in them, and not support all of the stuff that's going on. But if nothing else, we could at least try to shift the tide and shift the atmosphere in 26 by, maybe putting some new people in place. So if you're one of those people who want to run, start running now. Okay. Miramar, Deerfield Beach, in a couple other places have elections on March 11th, right? So some of us live in cities. I think it's about 6 of them, cities that have odd year elections. The city of Miramar is one of them. I believe Deerfield Beach is one of them. And I'm pulling up the list as I talk to y'all right now, so I can tell you what are the other cities that have odd year elections. So there are some cities that's going to have elections on March the 11th, that are going to have elections on March the 11th. So I want you all to make sure that you, if you're in one of those cities, make sure you vote. So what are the cities? Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Miramar, Pembroke Pines, and Sea Ranch Lakes, right? And they said the town of Hillsborough Beach candidates did not have any opposition, so there will be no elections in the town of Hillsborough Beach. However, Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Miramar, Pembroke Pines, and Sea Ranch Lakes will have elections on March 11th. What else I need to tell you? The deadline to register to vote, if you want to vote in one of those elections, is February 10th, 2025. That's Monday. So Monday, February 10th, 2025, if you want to vote in the March 11 elections, you got to register to vote by February 10th, right? Now, vote by mail, if you want to request a vote by mail ballot for that election that's taking place on March 11, 2025, you have to request your vote by mail ballot by February 27, 2025. Okay, February 27, 2025 is the last day you can request your vote by mail ballot for the March 11 election. If you want to register to vote in that election, you have to do it by February the 10th. There's no early voting for the March 11, 2025 election. You're only allowed to vote that day, right? You're only allowed to vote that day, March 11th. I think there are 2 seats open in the city of Miramar. Pema Reed and some DJs and some community people, and there's a whole bunch of people. And I think Yvette Claiborne's seat is up, and she may have opposition. So yeah, I think there are 2 seats that are open on a commission, and so find out about them. We don't have like seats like districts in Miramar. It's like everyone in the city can vote for whoever. But I think one race has 4 people, and I'm not sure the numbers in the other one. But I know Yvette Claiborne is up for re-election, and I know Pema Reed is running for a seat, and there's some DJs and a couple other people that's running against her. So Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Miramar, Pembroke Pines, Sea Ranch, Lakes all have elections on March 11, 2025, and you got to register by February the 10th and request your vote by mail February 27th. And there is no early voting. So that's the day you got to get it done. March 11th, you got to vote. I think that's it for today. And that's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. It's I think the second Tuesday of March 11th, 2025. Go vote. So the next time I have an episode, I am really going to try. I'm really going to try to get a full rundown of all of the things that are happening. I'm going to try to get a full rundown of all the things that are happening, and then we'll talk. So hopefully I'll get to a point where I do listen to some podcasts. I'm going to try to watch some of the news to hear how mainstream media is reporting, and then I'll talk about that next week. And I got a terrible comment on the YouTube, but that's okay. I know my credentials, and I'm very confident who it is that I am. So I'm not worried about somebody who don't know me. I'm calling names. All right. So yeah, I'm trying to keep them at 30 minutes. Thank you all for your time. So I thank you all for your time, and have y'all self a good night. Call, right? 202-224-3121. Call 202-224-3121. Jam the lines. Let them know how you're feeling. Let them know that what they're doing, America's better than this. America's better than this. America's better than this. And let's just, try to do better, people. Have a good night.